Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a Spain news update and news about the economy dominating headlines around the country here today in Spain. But unfortunately, it's not good news because the economy is said to be slowing down. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a donation or by buying me a beer or a coffee. Many thanks for that. And thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your ongoing support. Now, let's get into the news, and as I said, it's all about the economy here today. Not good news, unfortunately, because the Spanish economy is said to be slowing down, and as we know, that's the last thing that Spain needs. A weak economy. As we can read here, economy in stagflation. GDP slows to 0.2% in the third quarter and prices rise 7.3% in October. The slowdown in the Spanish economy was already evident in the third quarter of the year from June to September, when the GDP grew by only 0.2% compared to the previous quarter, according to the National Statistics Institute this Friday. This fall in activity, together with the rise in prices, inflation stood at 7.3% in October, suggests that the Spanish economy is already in a situation of stagnation with inflation. The INE has advanced this Friday that after standing at 8.9% in September, the Consumer Price Index, CPI, registered a rise of 7.3% in October, more moderate than the previous month, but still very worrying and far from the 2% inflation that, according to the European Central Bank, determines price stability. So, the Spanish economy not looking good, not a lot of growth, and high inflation. And remember the word, stagflation. So we'll see what the normally upbeat Spanish government has to say about this one. Now, as we know, Spain has a serious labour shortage currently. There's a lot of jobs that need filling, but you'd think with Spain's high unemployment rate, around 12.7%, it would be easy to find workers to fill these jobs, but that is not the case. And according to this article from El País, Spain is to recruit thousands of carpenters, electricians and bricklayers abroad. Spanish companies will find it easier than ever to recruit construction workers abroad. As of Monday, the catalogue of occupations that are difficult to fill, a list that includes the profile of professionals who, in theory, are not available in Spain so that they can be recruited in other countries, will be extended to include 31 trades, all related to construction. Years ago, this list only recognised the lack of personnel on ships and professional sportsmen and women and trainers. Now it will include bricklayers, site foremen, carpenters, welders, electricians, plumbers, forklift drivers, installers of waterproofing systems, etc. Profiles that, according to companies in the sector and the government's analysis, are in short supply in Spain. The decision is not supported by the trade unions. The Ministry of Labour views this measure with scepticism, although it will study it. So there we go. If you're looking for a job and you want to work in the construction sector here in Spain, now's your chance. But if Spanish people no longer want to work in their sector, why would someone from another country want to work in it? Now, the political party that's currently in government here in Spain, the PSOE party or the Socialist Party, is celebrating an important event today because it's 40 years since Felipe González's first victory and the PSOE's rise to power. On a day like today, 40 years ago, the Socialist Party made history with Felipe González's first major victory at the polls. It was the first time that the PSOE came to power after Franco's regime, and never since then has a candidate for government managed to repeat the absolute majority achieved then, 202 seats, nor the record of staying in power for 4 legislatures, almost 14 years marked by lights and shadows in which the modernisation of a backward Spain, the entry into the European Union and the referendum on NATO stand out against the state terrorism of the GAL, the serious cases of corruption, or the general strikes against socialist policies. So 40 years since the Socialist Party first came to power here in Spain, 1982 was the year, and Felipe González was the name of Spain's first socialist prime minister. And as we saw in that article, Spain went through some turbulent times back in the 1980s. There were important referendums, serious general strikes, and state-run terrorism. And let's not forget the corruption cases, because money disappeared left, right and centre. Now, we all know that Spain is a very popular tourist destination. Millions and millions of people from all over the world come to this country to enjoy everything that it has to offer. But we saw the other day how one village on the island of Menorca in the Balearic Islands here in Spain is complaining because there are too many tourists there now. And according to an article in the Times newspaper, other towns towns and villages here in Spain are also upset that they have too many tourists. As we can read here, tourists stay away, the places that don't want you to visit. Fear of outsiders is the reason that so many European villages were built on rocks, aloof, hard to reach and easy to defend. Siurana is one such settlement. 30 houses, 5 bars and restaurants, 2 hotels, a castle and a church on a limestone crag, overlooking the vineyards of Priorat, and far below, the shrunken Siurana Reservoir. The village describes itself as a beautiful town in Catalonia to do climbing, trekking, kayak, wine tastings, and more. It's the kind of place you'd find featured in this travel section, and exactly the kind of place for which the compilers of Los Pueblos Más Bonitos de España were looking to join their prestigious annual list of Spain's prettiest villages. But the mayor, Salvador Salvador, has declined their invitation. He's worried that Siurana's inclusion will only increase the footfall in his village of 32 inhabitants that already has up to 419,000 visitors per year. Over-tourism was the epidemic that came before COVID. Venice, Dubrovnik, Barcelona, the Balearic Islands, Lisbon, Santorini, Amsterdam, Iceland, the North Coast 500 in Scotland, and Aysgarth Falls in the Yorkshire Dales were just a few of the destinations that had become too popular for their own good. The overcrowding was driven by greed, lack of regulation, and the 4 horsemen of the tourism apocalypse: cruise ships, cheap flights, Airbnb, and Instagram. Urging them on from behind like Sancho Panza on his donkey were social media and, hands up, certain sections of the travel media championing destinations that needed no further promotion. So fairly clear from reading articles like that one that lots of towns and villages, not only here in Spain but in other European destinations as well, are victims of their own success. Yes, a lot of these places do rely on tourism, but the situation has got out of control. And as we also saw there, it's the tourism apocalypse: cheap flights, cruise ships, Airbnb, and social media sites like Instagram. So something's going to have to change, but I can't see it happening. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Marcus: the cult of Instagram posing is one of the worst human characteristics. Thousands of years of evolution to arrive at this point. Regressing as a species comes to mind. Yeah, Marcus, thanks for the comment, and it ties in beautifully with the article that we just saw about how mass tourism is destroying some small towns and villages here in Spain and other European places as well. And social media sites like Instagram, as I said before, have had a huge influence on this mass tourism because people love to show off these fantastic destinations where everything seems perfect on Instagram. In fact, I've come to the conclusion that a lot of people travel solely for the purpose of putting photos on that social media site. And is it just me, or are there other people out there that long for a return to the days when your holiday snaps were for your eyes only, and maybe for the eyes of your close friends, not for the world to see? But then again, maybe I'm just too old. One here from Tony, aka Craphead: not everyone can be a spark, plumber, etc., because it's a skilled profession, unlike politicians. Also, years ago, young people would become an apprentice after leaving school if they wanted to go into these professions in the 1960s and 70s. That's from my experience living in the UK. Yeah, Tony, thanks for the comment, and you're right, not everybody can be a sparky, a plumber, a cabinet maker, a tiler, because they are skilled professions. And in Australia also, if you want to work in one of these professions, you need to do an apprenticeship, or at least you did when I was growing up. A lot of people that do these jobs here seem to be from South America or the Eastern European countries, and I imagine that's because young Spanish people don't want to do these jobs. In fact, I can't remember the last time I saw a Spanish electrician. And as we saw earlier in the news today, the Spanish government is now going to make it easier for companies to hire workers directly in their country of origin to fill the vacancies in the construction sector, which, as I said before, is surprising given that Spain has an unemployment rate of close to 13%. But hey, it's not the only thing that confuses me in this country. One here from MR: my wife has family who live in Barcelona. Of course, Catalan is the language of instruction, and it is their national language. The schools there teach English and Spanish as foreign languages. Both are mandatory, and students may select an additional foreign language to learn as well. Yemar, thanks for the comment and thanks for adding to the debate that we have been having on this channel in recent times about whether or not it is necessary to learn a second language at school. As we know, a lot of us English speakers don't pick up a second language, or at least we don't pick it up very well when we go through the school system in our countries, whether that be the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, for example, because it's very easy to find people that speak our own language when we travel, and let's be honest, sometimes we are a little bit lazy. But here in Spain, that is not the case. All children at school here in Spain have to learn a foreign language, normally English. And as you mentioned in your comment, in Catalonia, not only do they learn English as a foreign language, but Spanish as well. And there are a lot of people in the rest of Spain, especially this part of Spain, central Spain, that are not happy about that because they want Castellano Spanish to be on the same level as Catalan in Catalonia and not taught as a second language. So it's a hot topic in many parts of Spain. One here from One Wheel, it is strange about the shopping malls because here in the US they're all going out of business with only a few stores remaining open within them. Yeah, One Wheel, thanks for the comment, and this is something that I mentioned on yesterday's live stream about how popular shopping centres or shopping malls are in this country, especially on the outskirts of big cities here in Spain. In fact, there seems to be no limits when it comes to building new shopping centres here. So it appears to be the opposite of what's happening in the States. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, a lot of people here in Spain absolutely love shopping centres. And if anybody knows why that is, please let me know in the comment section below, because I can't work it out. And finally, one here from Smeargut, Spanish food in the villages is where the best food is, as it's locally sourced and homemade. Yes, Smeargut, thanks for the comment, and I agree with what you say there. The best Spanish food is often found in small towns and villages here in Spain, because, as you said, it's fresh and it's sourced locally, unlike in big cities and towns where it's sometimes not all that fresh and definitely not locally sourced. So if you're looking for good, authentic and tasty Spanish food, head to a small village. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. See you in the next one. Hasta luego.